to observe what we have for you today. I want to thank you for your patience in this moment. I will mention it again, but each of you will be muted to cut down on disturbances. However, please use the chat function to express appreciation for the awardees and share personal stories. In the chat function, normally in Zoom, it'll be at the lower portion of your screen. You'll see the word chat, and you can click it there, and you will be able to share, whatever words you would like to with the group or with individuals, even directly to an individual. So I want to make sure that you utilize the chat function. Let's see, many of you are here to support a loved one who is being honored, and we truly appreciate that. But you might not know a lot about the Sierra Club. And for those of you that are familiar with this organization, you might appreciate hearing some background information. So I'm going to take a little time now to share a little background about the Sierra Club. I recently had a conversation with my aunt, who is in her 80s, and I asked her, "Had you heard about the Sierra Club?" She said, "Yes, Deidre, I have heard about it. I don't know a lot, but she did say, yeah, I've heard about it." So it's good to know that, over the years, because we've been around for a minute, and you'll find out how many years in a minute when I share the history of it. But we are known, so that's a good thing. Let's see. All right, since 1892, the Sierra Club has evolved to be the most influential grassroots environmental organization in the United States. I mean, that's been a long time running. So we have seen some things across the years, and over the years, we have seen many things that has happened in our nation in regards to the environment. So we have been around, so we are pretty steadfast here. We boast over 3.8 million members. That's a lot of folks who care about our earth. We want to increase that, but that is quite a few people, so that's good to know. So like I said, we boast over 3.8 million members and supporters that work to advance climate solutions and ensure that everyone has access to clean air, clean water, and a healthy environment. And that's comforting to know, that, we definitely have a lot of folks out there that's working to make sure that we stay on top of the issues that are happening environmentally in our nation. So that's good to know. Our mission is to explore, enjoy, and protect the wild places of the earth. Yeah, these are things that we hold true. So whenever we're doing our work, we make sure that we keep that mission in mind. Sharing an historic view closer to home, the Michigan Sierra Club in Michigan has 150,000 members and supporters. The Michigan chapter works with volunteer leaders, state agencies, and the legislature to help ensure better environmental stewardship statewide. And that, I think that's powerful. I am so happy to work with a group of people that are well connected, even when in our legislature, especially in this time. We all know why that is, powerful, to be connected with the legislature now. So let's see. And I want to put out there that you can please view the Michigan Sierra Club website. You can get more information about what we do, what we've done, and that's at the sierraclub.org, SIERRACLUB.org/Michigan. You can gain even more information, and you can even join us here in Michigan or in the state where you live, because we are nationwide. So if you live in another state, find out how to get in touch with or get on the website of the chapter in your state, because you can. But if you are so moved to do so, you know, if you want to get more involved, you can join, as well as just find out more information. That would be great. This award ceremony is a grand opportunity for you to all get a glimpse of the wonderful work that is being done in the way of environmental and social justice. You will hear firsthand from our awardees the work that is being done in this beautiful state of Michigan. And it is very beautiful. I have loved traveling to the UP. I mean, it's amazing how beautiful it is. At this time, I would like to introduce our host for the evening, Gail Philbin. She is the Sierra Club Chapter Director for the state of Michigan. And Christy McGillivray. She is the Sierra Club Political Director for the state of Michigan. Awesome women. And I am so pleased and honored to know them and talk to them on a regular basis. So they're great. I'm glad we have them. And I would be remiss if I did not mention two others who are key to this being a smooth event. Sarah Tressiter, she's going to be our Zoom operator. And if any one of you know, it's important. Technology is phenomenal, but it takes some knowledge in order to operate it effectively. And we have Tim Manotis, our chat monitor. And once again, speaking of the chat, each of you will be muted. However, please utilize the chat function to share your appreciation for the awardees and to share personal stories. And I've noticed in the chat that some folks have been utilizing it already. And I thank you for sharing your thoughts. It really adds to this event when you share things in the chat. So please feel free to do that. Each individual can. So, all right. Now I would like to turn it over to our host.
Thanks, Teacher.
No, thank you.
I'm Gail Philbin, and I just want to say a couple things before we get started here. One is I want to thank one of the unsung heroes of all of our chapter awards ceremonies is the guy who works behind the scenes, never really gets any credit at all, and that's Craig Ressler, who every year kind of does what could be considered, drudge work in that he gets the awards, he collects the nominations, he gets the awards printed, he gets them assembled, and he drops them off. And it's a small but vital task that we truly appreciate. And I don't know if he's ever been kind of called out before, but thank you, Craig, for that. The other person I want to mention is Ann Wywoody, who ordinarily would probably, there she is, speak of the devil, she's right there on the screen. Perfect. Thank you, Sarah. She is a former longtime chapter director. She just stepped down from being the chair of the XCOM. She's just vital to this organization, and she's usually right in front with everyone else on the front lines. But she's been battling the effects of long haul COVID lately, so she's been, it hasn't knocked her down and out, but she's been less active than she usually is. And we just want to shout out to Ann. Thank you for everything you've done, and we're looking for you to come back because we need you. So thanks, and we hope you're doing better. And then finally, I just want to give a brief history of the chapter awards. They have a long history with the chapter. It actually goes back 34 years, 1987. That was the first chapter awards that we distributed. 2 were given out. One was to former Michigan congressman or U.S. congressman for Michigan, Dale Kildee. And the other one was for Mark Miller, who was a volunteer from Grand Rapids, who was also on the executive committee and also a group member. So he was a chapter chair for a bit of time too. So it goes far back. Since then, we've honored hundreds of volunteer heroes from many different worlds. elected officials, like we are honoring tonight with Jocelyn Benson, but also rank and file volunteers from other organizations, journalists. We're honoring Michigan Advance tonight as well. So we've had a chance to just give a nod to so many people that have, through the years, helped us remain a strong force for good in the environment. So with that, I'll kick it over to Christy briefly.
Thanks, everyone. Welcome. I am going to stop sharing my screen now. And Sarah, if you want to maybe flip to the first slide in just a second, I'll give you the go ahead. But if you want to get that slideshow ready. Welcome. We are so glad to have all of you here. Working to monitor the participant list and see if we have any other esteemed elected officials joining us. I think we do have Representative Weiss here. Greetings, Representative Weiss. Thank you for making environmental issues such a key part of your platform when you were running for office. We are excited for working with you in the state legislature. As we see any other lawmakers join us, we'll be sure to welcome them and lift up our environmental champions who are joining us along with all of our awardees tonight. Oh, hi, there you are. Welcome.
I just want to say thank you, and thank you for the work that you all are doing. It's so important.
Awesome. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. And I wish this was in person. It's so stilted and weird to be over Zoom. So, drop personal anecdotes in the chat. I wish we could all toast together. We'll have to have a party some other time. But yeah, please take a minute. If you would like to grab a beverage of choice, go for it. We're going to get a few things set up. It's really inspiring to, even in these hard times, get together and celebrate all of the great work that we managed to pull off in the middle of a global pandemic and absolutely unprecedented attacks on our democracy. I can't wait until we are all vaccinated and can have a proper party. It's just on the horizon. I know we're going to get there. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We are running a little bit ahead of schedule, which is fine. That means we'll have some cushion in our acceptance speeches in case a few folks go over. But on that note, Sarah, are you ready to start with your screen share?
Yes, one moment. I will have it up in a second.
Okay, awesome. Then I am going to turn it back over to Gail. And Gail, once Sarah has it up and running, we can get started.
All right.
I go ahead and mute myself.
I understand that Anne is in the vast digital mob out there somewhere. So Anne Wywoody, hi. And Marty Fluharty, hello. I was going to be talking about you momentarily, so I'm glad you're here. So this is wonderful to see all these people. We would obviously prefer to be in person, but this is interesting. We got to be creative.
Christy, I'm having still some technical difficulties, so if you guys want to get started with them, I will keep working on that.
Okay, and no worries. I can do it on my end as well. So just give me 1 second.
Do you want me to wait or start?
Hold on.
Okay.
Let me just. And thanks, everyone. As always, of course, we appreciate your patience. Go back to.
This is great. It's like old home week. I'm looking around at the squares. Oh, there's Richard. Oh, there's Irma. Oh, there's, it's kind of fun.
There we go. All right. So I'm going to share my screen and we should be good to go. All right. Is D on everyone's screen?
Yes.
Awesome. All right. I will turn it back over to you, Gail.
Great. Thanks. So as I mentioned, Marty Fluharty is actually in our digital audience, which is great because I was going to talk about her briefly to introduce the Dietrich's Awards. So we established the Marlene Fluharty Award a while back, and it was in honor of Marty, who was a dedicated volunteer over the years, decades ago. She started with local groups. She was both served on the group and the chapter level. And she then went on to serve at the National Sierra Club on the foundation, Sierra Club Foundation, and she made a big impact on us. She was appointed to the NRC, Natural Resources Commission, back in the 80s, and was well respected there. And then she went on to serve as executive director for the Americana Foundation. So thrilled that she's joined us from wherever she is. And this goes to somebody who has served at multiple levels in the club, the chapter and the club. And Deetra Covington has been with us for about 10 years, and she is fabulous. She's a delight to work with. And in addition to that, she's done so much for us in the time she's been with us. She's been on the executive committee since about 2013. And since then, she has just kind of led us full charge into exploring where our issues intersect with race issues in America and helping us move towards a greater, more just and equitable institution. She helped establish the race and privilege. She did establish the race and privilege work group, which features chapter staff and volunteers. And we meet regularly to talk about what issues, the environmental justice, racial issues that apply to our work, and looking for solutions. And she has also served as, I'm sorry, I thought I had it memorized, but I don't. She's currently the co-chair of the executive committee, and she's also at the national level joined the Council of Club Leaders. She's now on the executive committee of the Council of Club Leaders. She also is at the national level on the Sierra Club organizational values development process, and is on a task force examining Sierra Club's racial history over the last 128 years. So she's a vital person in our organization, and she's, as it says on the screen there, sustainability educator and community activist from Southeast Michigan, who was brought to the club by her personal experience with issues in her community. And Rhonda Anderson took her for a toxic tour along with other folks, and that kind of pulled Deetra in, and now she's stuck with us. So with that, I will give Deetra the floor, and thank you so much for all your work.
No, thank you so much, Gail. It's interesting hearing you know talk about my life. I'm like, wow, that makes me tired. You know. Oh, you got a photo up there, Gail. I see.
Yeah, that's your award.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I want to share a few thoughts here. I want to say thanks for the spirit within me that gives me the outlook that if I have another day to exist on this earth, there is another opportunity to make changes, starting with myself. I had the opportunity to connect with Ms. Fluharty Marty, and I am glad she was able to attend this event today. I'm very happy. My heart is happy. And it is wonderful that she has been a model that the Sierra Club thought was worthy to name an award for her work. And I'm glad to be a recipient of it. Let's see. I want to take this time also to give my thanks for support and other support as well. Starting with my family and dear friends, thank you all. And I will mention a few. First of all, my two sons, they might be on this call, on the Zoom call too. But I have two sons, and Breland and Bernard, and they have been there from the beginning since they were little guys, attending rallies, meetings, outings, etc. Thank you, guys. And whether they wanted to or not, they were with me, you know, so they know about the Sierra Club. They know when I mention it, what it's about, because they've been around it for so many years. And I also want to acknowledge my sister and my niece, Dawn and Tamara, in South Carolina, where my niece is conducting environmental work at her job and at the university there. And I'm glad she is able to attend this. She's on this call as well, and I appreciate her because, you know, it's amazing, you know, when I need to talk to someone in my family about the environmental issues, I can go to Tamara because she knows about it. She's actually a doctor. She's Dr. Tamara Warren. She has received her doctorate in this field. So it's like amazing how much she knows and how much she gives, you know, in environmental work. Also, I would like to show appreciation to my husband, Terrence. He is very supportive. We are growing our mental health counseling practice, yet he allows me the freedom to balance my Sierra Club work, you know, and the work with our company. So I know a lot of times he hears about the Sierra Club every day because it's always something that I'm involved with, whether it's a meeting or something I need to prepare for. So I appreciate him. And special thanks goes to Rhonda Anderson. She introduced me to the Sierra Club many years ago, and she has really traveled on this journey with me since day one. You know, even today we were in another meeting with another Sierra Club group that I'm a part of, and she was there. You know, so it is always heartwarming to still see she's active even after all these years, because she's been a part of this about 40 years at least, you know, so she knows a lot and does a lot, and I appreciate her. Also, next, I would like to say thank you to Ann Y. Woody and David Holtz. When I came to the Sierra Club, the first people I worked with the first person was David Holtz. And so I truly, I feel a bond towards David and Ann, especially by me being a co-chair now too, with, you know, I was with the co-chair with Ann. I feel a very strong bondship with both of those individuals. Let me see. Both of these individuals have been a source of inspiration and great models to follow in my Sierra Club work, which leads me to mention the various committees I have become involved in to further my knowledge and work within the Sierra Club. Thanks to the following committees in assisting me in navigating my efforts in the Sierra Club on the local, state, and national level. Believe it or not, I'm sure you can believe it. I've been on 3 calls with the Sierra Club today already, you know, in 3 meetings across, you know, but these are on the national level. I've been busy already with Sierra Club. So, and after, just based on what Gail shared, and I'll tell you a little bit more, but it's definitely a labor of love, because I feel passionate about every group that I'm a part of. So the first one I want to mention is Sierra Club Downriver Transition Team. This team, we work, is a wonderful team where we have secured the closing of the River Rouge DTE plant, and now we're working to review the next steps for the community residents. And this is a local initiative that I'm working on. The Sierra Club Leadership and Recruitment Committee, and this is a state initiative where we're working on making sure that we have good communication between our groups and individuals that want to join. So that's why I really want to encourage people, if you want to get involved with what we do, please go to the website and join us, our state website. The Sierra Club State Directors Transition Task Force. I want to say thank you to those team members as well, because that's a pretty heavy carry in trying to replace Gail, who is awesome. And, you know, I don't even want to think about replacing her, but it might be something we have to do. So the Sierra Club Race and Privilege Work Group. This I started, actually, was part of an equity course that I learned about through the Sierra Club. And I just felt that it was necessary for us to be able to be a club that was more inclusive, diverse, and equitable. So I wanted to make sure here in Michigan that we were, we are one of the first, one of the states that really tapped into that. So the next one is the Sierra Club Black Action Team. Now this is a committee that I'm a part of, which that really focuses on Blacks in the Sierra Club and what issues are we having that we need to talk about amongst ourselves. So this is a group that I'm a part of. Let's see, what else am I doing here? Sierra Club Value Squad Working Group. This is another, this is a national initiative where we're trying to make sure that the values are stated and really spoke about across the nation and that it's consistent. So that's another group I'm a part of, the Sierra Club History and Futures Task Force. This is a group that we're looking at the background of the Sierra Club from the beginning all the way up until the present, you know, because we're viewed, sometimes we have a, people have a different view of the Sierra Club that needs to be clarified and needs to be talked about, even if it's, you know, sometimes things are not always pretty. So we need to talk about, you know, the deep issues that are happening within Sierra Club. And this is one group that does that. Okay. The next thing is the Sierra Club Council of Club Leaders. That committee, the Council of Club Leaders is one that works, that is an intermediary between the chapters across the nation with the national level. So that's a national initiative. And then lastly, I have the Sierra Club National Nominating Forum Committee. And I'm a part of that because we're looking to elect new board members. So I'm working on the committee to make sure on a national level that we have some great candidates for that. So I want to say thanks to the members and supporters I have met locally, statewide, and across the nation for your work in our communities and your support of the work I am doing in the Sierra Club. Most people with whom I communicate have heard me mention the Sierra Club, and I really want to say thanks to those who took the time to listen. You know, not that you necessarily did anything, but you listened to me, so I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you. Christy is up next, I believe.
Oh, Gail, could I say one thing? This is Marty.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Go for it. This is Marty Fluharty.
Congratulations. And I'm so glad Anne and Tom Wywoody are on this. They were my hand holders through my whole Sierra Club lifetime and got me into some interesting things. But Deidre, I am so proud of you. You are doing so much. Just don't burn yourself up. You have a very full plate. And David Holtz, thank you. And Gail, thank you for all the work for so many years that you all have been just stalwart supports for the National Sierra Club, for the local, etc. And if I can ever get out of Key West, which is where I am right now, trying to stay away from the virus, I sure would like to get involved with somebody from Milford, Oakland County, etc., and get back into the swing of things. Thank you all so much for all the years, for all the involvement of all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll be in touch.
All right, I think that, thanks for that. Marty, it is so great to have you here. Thank you for tuning in from Florida. I think it's really important for us to have these connections, you know, across time and place. It's one of the ways that we are trying to maintain our community during COVID. So that's really fantastic. So we are so far on schedule. We are working to keep this to an hour and we want to make sure that everyone can talk. So I just want to let all of our awardees know that if we, you know, politely cut you off, it's we promise that we all wish we were in person and we could have chats for hours over a beverage or two. But we're going to try and keep on schedule and respect people's time, and we can stay on longer afterwards for folks to chat. And please do use the chat function as well, so that you can chime in. I just want to check and make sure. I believe that we have Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson here. I think that is the case, correct? I believe so.
Christy, sorry to interrupt. I should be able to
Sure.
do the screen sharing and zooming stuff now. If you want to give me co-host access, that's what I need.
Great. I think you do. I think you do have co-host access, Sarah. Do you not? Do I need to invite you from? Okay, I'll just do it from there too. All right, so I'll stop screen sharing for just a minute. And again, thanks for your patience, everyone. All right, we should be good. Okay. And again, just want to make sure, I think I have the alias that she's using, but Secretary of State Benson, are you here and are you able to unmute yourself?
Hi, this is Jeanette. She's just connecting now. She'll be on in just one moment.
Oh,
Thank
okay,
you.
great. Awesome. No problem. We are a little bit ahead of schedule, so that is fantastic. And I think we're doing well. While we are killing time, I did notice, now this is just special because we're killing just a few minutes while we're waiting for Secretary of State Benson, but I noticed that Bob Aguirre had his hand up. Bob, do you want to chime in with anything, or were you just applauding Deetra?
Just applauding.
Okay. Okay, great to hear. Well, in the meantime, I can go ahead and get started a little bit with the introduction, and then Secretary of State Benson can give her remarks when she gets in here. I was going to tell a little bit of a personal story, and I can subject all of you to that before our Environmentalist of the Year arrives. So thanks for your patience, everyone. And our Environmentalist of the Year, I think as everyone knows this year, is Secretary of State Benson. And chances are, if you are in a part of this award ceremony right now, then you care about democracy. And Secretary of State Benson has been our champion fighting to make sure that we're maintaining our democracy. And I grew up in a very politically motivated household. And the first election that I got to vote in was the year 2000, a pretty momentous election, which I think a lot of people remember. At the time, I was going to Henry Ford Community College, and I participated in Get Out the Vote efforts on our campus in Dearborn. And I worked the polls on election day. And on election day, I was thrilled when I saw Michigan go for Al Gore. And then I think everyone who was around at that time remembers how the election was dragged out. And I still remember where I was when I heard the news that the Supreme Court had stopped the recount. And I was turning south onto Cranbrook from 14.5 Mile, and I was listening to the radio, and I was driving to class, and I remember my stomach just dropped, and I was really viscerally upset that this democracy that I was so excited to participate in was being so directly challenged, and that the votes were not all being counted. So since then, I have been engaged in our democracy in some sort of capacity. And I know that all of us here on this call, we really believe that power should derive from the consent of the governed. And most importantly, that consent comes through a free and fair election. And that's my personal belief. I know it's everyone else's personal belief on this call, and it's a part of the organizational ethics of Sierra Club. All of our work is it's possible because we live in a democracy. So that is a part of the reason, a really important part of the reason why we decided to nominate and award Jocelyn Benson with our Environmentalist of the Year award. So just checking in again, do we have Secretary of State Benson with us? Almost, yes. Sorry, it's so much easier when you're in person and you can just see people. I love reading these quotes from the chats. Anne's taking a minute. She wants to thank Jocelyn Benson for having worked hard for so many years to make Michigan's elections fair, safe, and inclusive. Absolutely. That is 100% the case. And another quote from David, without democracy, there is no environmental protection. That is absolutely correct. I was talking with another staffer today, Justin Onwenu, and Justin was expressing his passion for Sierra Club's support for democracy as well. And I like to think he was asking me about, the connection that I see between environmental issues and democracy. And I think that, one of the core ways that, corporations exert undue influence is by the way their externalization of cost. And we see that in the ways that lives are devalued based on whether you live in an affluent community that's not a fence line community. You see it in the ridiculous pricing that goes on with fossil fuels. There's just so many different ways that our markets are skewed, and we need that democratic process in order to rein in those corporate excesses. So I think that is, absolutely the case. I was looking up different anecdotes about why democracy is so important today. And one of the first ones that popped up was the story about the 1787 convention. And that was the Constitutional Convention, which ratified our Constitution and really created our country. And at that convention, this is, the way that the story goes, when everyone was coming out of it, there were onlookers that asked, what kind of country do we have? And the anecdote goes that Ben Franklin said, we have a republic if we can keep it. So keeping that is what all of our work is about, making sure that we maintain that democracy. And it sounds like Jocelyn Benson is on. Secretary of State Benson, welcome. I was boring everyone with personal anecdotes about my passion for democracy. And we're absolutely thrilled to award you our Environmentalist of the Year award. I was saying that Sierra Club has a strong commitment to preserving our democracy because all of our advocacy is only possible through a functioning democratic process. And you have literally written the book on how that works for anyone who is interested. Sarah, can you go back to screen sharing? Is that possible? I'll keep going while Sarah's doing that. So that is only possible through making sure that we have free and fair elections. And the book, Secretaries of State, Guardians of the Democratic Process, is very appropriately named. And we have witnessed and watched some of the most egregious cultural and political attacks against democracy unfold in the past couple of years. We don't need to go into details. We all watched the Wayne County Board of Canvassers meeting. It's been truly upsetting. And Secretary Benson has fought these attacks every step of the way, from mailing out absentee ballot applications to every voter in the state, to making sure that the 2018 voting reforms were smoothly and comprehensively implemented, to working hand in glove with grassroots organizers who were able to articulate the specific needs and barriers in different communities to voting during the unprecedented difficulties of the pandemic. That looked like making sure that there were ballot drop boxes in communities because of the egregious attacks on our postal service. It looked like making sure that the Democracy MVP program was encouraging as much education about how to safely and easily vote during the pandemic. It was just, it was a joy to work with the Secretary of State's office during this challenging time. Secretary of State Benson has taken her legal expertise, her passion, and her deep commitment to working with everyday citizens to pull off the safest, most well-run and secure election with record-breaking levels of turnout in possibly the most difficult conditions that any of us could have imagined, including egregious public attacks from the highest office in the land. It is not hyperbole to say that Michigan was a ground zero in our fight for democracy. We were absolutely thrilled to work with Secretary of State Benson to make sure that we maintained that democracy. And on that note, I will turn it over to Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. If we were in person, there would be a round of thunderous applause right now. So everyone will have to use their imaginations. But on that note, Secretary Benson.
Well, thank you, Christy, and thank you all. It's so great to see so many of you and your wonderful faces. I wish we could be in person as well, just so I could see all of you and hug you and say thank you in person and how much this award means to me. I think, and I'm grateful that you all agree that really at the heart of all the issues that you all fight for, that we all fight for, is preserving and protecting the ability for us to vote. And, you know, in truth, this award belongs to all of you, all of us, the people of Michigan, who emerged to vote this year, to vote last year in the midst of a pandemic. Every person across our state, including so many members of your organization, the Sierra Club, so many organizations who stepped up to serve as election workers and ensure not only that we saw record-breaking turnout with 5.5 million people voting in November, 3.3 million citizens voting absentee, which was building upon the record-breaking turnout in our August primary, where 2.5 million people voted, more than ever before in an August primary, and that was with no major statewide issue or candidate on the ballot. So, you know, we've truly engaged our citizens in a new way in this state, and also in part due to your work to pass the amendments to our state constitution that put people more in charge, both of our districts and drawing legislative districts, and also in charge of our own power with elections through creating a right to vote by mail, a right to vote absentee, a right to register to vote up to and on election day itself, a right to be automatically registered if you're eligible and you interact with the Secretary of State office. So I said when I took office in my inauguration speech, it's a new day for democracy in Michigan. And we certainly saw and have lived that over the past 2 years. And so now as we look forward to 2021, we recognize that the work is not over. We survived and emerged from a really tremendously successful election cycle marked by record-breaking turnout and more people, over 30,000, including many of you serving as election workers, to actually make sure the infrastructure of our democracy worked, and it did. But we're also emerging out of an unprecedented campaign to, excuse me, to confuse voters about their rights, about the sanctity of their democracy, and affect their faith in our democracy. And so we have work to do now moving forward, both advancing democracy, advancing the vote, protecting and preserving the infrastructure that enabled more people to vote than ever before, to make sure that aspect of our elections last year is more than a moment, but that it becomes the norm. It becomes a movement, one that we always see in every election, in the local city elections that are happening this year, in the statewide elections happening next year. We want the level of engagement we saw in 2020 to be a new normal for our citizens of Michigan. And what that means, when you have more people engaged, you have more people, excuse me, participating, you then have more people with a seat at the table, with a voice at the table, to impact the issues that we all care about and to ensure that all voices are heard. So with that in mind, with the election now behind us, we continue our work to push back, to advance the vote, and also address misinformation to the extent that, and it's waning, but to the extent that there are still efforts to both relitigate or rehash the meritless claims that were brought forth over the past several months, trying to erode public confidence in our democracy. We have maintained and will continue to maintain a fact check website, michigan.gov/SOS fact check. So we encourage you to continue to refer to that, encourage people to go to it anytime you hear misinformation or questions, because we refer to it among our team as sort of the dying embers of a fight, but at the same time, they're still there. And we have to recognize that we've got work to do continuously to protect and defend the truth about our elections. And then secondly, we also have to ensure that the experiences, what worked, what was good about 2020 continues and expands, as I mentioned, but the experiences post-election in particular that we saw that really were harmful to the health of our democracy that escalated into violence in our state capital and our United States Capitol in particular. Those types of post-election meritless, frivolous shenanigans do not become a norm as well, because our democracy simply cannot survive as a healthy and robust democracy with those continued attacks. And I'm sure opponents to our democracy certainly are aware of that and will try to launch those attacks again in the future. So how do we preserve what worked and prevent what didn't from happening again? Well, we announced this week, this Advance the Vote, Protect Democracy plan that will work to, hopefully in collaboration with our state legislature, change aspects of our current election law to both codify things that worked, like we know the mailing of every registered voter and absentee ballot application worked, to educate everyone equally about how to access their right to vote absentee. But we also want to make it a felony for people to willingly, knowingly disseminate false information that has the effect of misleading voters about their rights and about their democracy. And so if we were able to really draw a line in the sand that says those types of extreme measures that we really experienced here in Michigan, that are not just frivolous, not just lacking in evidence, but intentionally, willingly, willfully, knowingly spread to cause citizens to not vote or to believe that their votes don't count, and to have the effect of just that, should be illegal. And so a number of things like that we want to couple, like making sure election challengers, when they're placed in polling places, that they're trained so that when they see things and they may misinterpret an action, that they're actually trained to understand what that clerk is doing. And that also will limit misinformation or false impressions from creating a cloud of doubt over the sanctity of the process. So our plan is posted online. You can read all the details there, but it's focused on protecting the accessibility of the vote, ensuring the infrastructure of our elections remains intact, like enabling, for example, clerks to process absentee ballots prior to election day, and protecting the security of the process by fighting back against deceptive practices and preserving the security of the systems themselves. So that's how we move forward, in my view. And in the weeks ahead, in the months ahead, as we particularly now get closer with every month to the 2022 elections, I will anticipate that a lot of the partisan rhetoric, some of it aimed at diminishing voters' engagement, the very high levels of engagement of our democratic process, that will take all of us away from the issues we care about, may increase. But the other thing that's going to be happening this year, and this is where I'll close, is the other thing is the citizens of the state of Michigan will have the power to draw the legislative or influence the drawing of the legislative lines for the 2022 elections and beyond. So don't miss your opportunity. Go to redistrictingmichigan.org. You can see everything that the commissioners, the citizens commissioners, are already doing to plan for a citizen-led process. And once they get that census data, they'll be looking to all of you, to your membership, and to others all around the state to advise them on what you would like your state house, state senate, and congressional districts to look like for the next 10 years. Many of you worked on the amendment that created this commission. It's now in place. It is working. We've got 13 independent, fair-minded commissioners committed to their work. And now all we need is you all and citizens across the state to continue to give them your input about what you'd like to see your maps look like. So I take this award tonight with great pride. Thank you for recognizing how a healthy democracy creates a healthy Michigan, how a safe democracy enables a safe Michigan, and know that we have done great things together to have a great successful election in 2020. But that work will and must continue in the years ahead if we're going to continue to build on those gains and truly make Michigan's democracy one that is a model for the rest of the country. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. Thunderous applause. If we were in person, we would hear it.
Guys.
Thank you so much. It is so heartening to hear that.
I appreciate it a great deal.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, thank you for your time. You will be getting the award in the mail. I'm sure you have other interviews to do. And on that note, I apologize, everyone.
The Attorney General and I will be on MSNBC at 8:30 if anyone wants to tune in on Chris Hayes. So check us out.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
Definitely will.
You know, Dana was your recipient last year, right? So
Yes.
two
yes.
award recipients coming
Exactly.
together to speak to the fight.
That's awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And we'll have to We'll have to make sure that we end the ceremony by then so everyone can get on to MSNBC. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, thanks. On that note, I apologize, folks. I have my video off because it says my internet connection is unstable. So I'm working to maintain my internet connection. So thanks for your patience there. Onwards, we're going to continue. And Sarah, could you please bring up the Michigan Advanced slide? Thank you. Okay, we are on time, you guys, which is really exciting. We are sticking to our schedule, which is fantastic. I encourage all awardees. It was so great to hear Secretary of State Benson outline how she is the concrete steps in the plan that she's going to take to keep protecting our democracy. It's just thrilling. And on this note, you know, there's a functioning part of any democratic government is, of course, a functioning free press. And just like we have to have a free and fair elections, we have to have journalists that are ready to take risks and ask really hard questions in order to provide the public the information they need in order to make decisions as citizens. And Michigan Advance, specifically Lena Stebbins as well as a reporter for Michigan Advance, have really risen to the occasion and provided the public information specifically in an ongoing consistent basis on our fight to shut down Line 5. Their timely reporting has been front and center on this issue for years. Michigan Advance, they really stand apart, and Lena has led this work because of their approachable stories that regularly engage readers about this controversial pipeline that at any point we know could rupture and create an environmental and economic disaster. The reporters do this consistently, and that demonstrates their ongoing commitment to making sure that the public is educated. It's really noteworthy, their journalism, because we are living in a fast-paced 24-hour news cycle. You know, we're dealing with unprecedented levels of misinformation and fake news. You know, it's really easy for media to chase clickbait at the expense of prioritizing public information by consistently making sure that there's high quality coverage on important stories that really play out in months and years, not days. And the fight over Line 5 is clearly a story that has played out over years at this point. Michigan Advance's Line 5 coverage is proof that public service and the news cycle can be two sides of the same coin. Some of the aspects of Line 5 that they've covered are the climate impacts, court proceedings, safety concerns, implications for the 2020 presidential election, and most importantly, they have critically interrogated Enbridge's claims of gas price increases and propane shortages, and they have reported accurately on Enbridge's lack of financial assurances in the case of a rupture. So we are truly indebted as citizens in Michigan for their reporting, and it is an honor to present them with the Environmental Journalism Award of the Year. On that note, I would love to turn it over to Lena Stebbins. So if you want to stop screen sharing, Sarah, you may. And Lena, we would love to hear from you.
Thank you, Christy. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to thank Sierra Club Michigan for this award on behalf of our entire team at the Michigan Advance. As the lead environmental reporter at the Advance, I'm grateful every single day that this was the news beat I fell in love with. Because not only are the issues extremely and increasingly important, but the advocates, experts, and other Michiganders I get to speak with on a regular basis are wonderful to work with and to learn from. I want to give special thank yous to David Holtz, Sean McBurdy, and Ann Woywoody in this regard. I'd also like to thank our editor-in-chief, Susan Demas, for giving me and my colleagues the encouragement and freedom to report on the issues we are most passionate about. For me, being able to report on Line 5 and other crucial environmental issues in Michigan has been the highlight of my career so far, and my team and I are humbled to have been honored with this recognition. So again, I'd like to extend my deepest thanks to all of you at the Sierra Club for this award and to congratulate all of tonight's recipients for their amazing work. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Lena. It is so great to celebrate you. That's awesome. All right, again, we are still on schedule. Go team. On that note, I am going to move on. And Sarah, if you want to start the slideshow again, we are going to be honoring Michael Chinsky with the Virginia Prentice Award. This one is a special pleasure. I'm really excited to give this award. Mike called me at this point a little over a year ago. He had just retired as a senior geologist with the DEQ, and he retired from teaching as well. He was a professor for years of geology, and he called me because at the time I was working on PFAS, and he was interested in providing information on how PFAS migrates through groundwater. He was also calling Tim Minotis at the same time about a terrible aggregate mining bill that was moving through the state legislature. Since then, Mike has helped groups and citizens around the state fend off aggregate mining in their communities. He has lent his considerable expertise to the staff and volunteers on this issue and many others. He really built our chapter response that made it possible for us to defeat the aggregate mining bill during lame duck. Go team! He's also provided really crucial expertise in exposing the flaws in Enbridge's oil tunnel permits. So on top of that, he's working to stop a large concrete crushing operation that is slated to start up on the east side of Detroit. And he is working on some really interesting environmental education place-based projects with Garrett Dempsey, and working to get kids outdoors and connected with the natural and built environment, because it's all connected. Mike is really the worst retiree ever. At one point we were talking and I asked him how he found the time to do everything that he's doing. And his very quick response, because I'm sure he was on to another project, was, "I don't like TV," which was just fantastic. So Mike, it is an honor to present you with the Virginia Prentice Award for protecting our wilderness. And if you could please accept it with about a minute of remarks, you will keep us on schedule. Go, Mike.
Well, thank you so much, Christy, and thanks for the award. It really came as a surprise. When I saw the email notice, I almost thought it was a scam and deleted it. After I retired from the DEQ and teaching, I still wanted to do something related to the geology. And so I led a geology hike with the DNR and the Sierra Club at Island Lake State Rec area. And someone had a question about aggregate mining. That's when I discovered that I could use my geological background, mining and environmental experience to help local groups and planning commissions to better understand the proper permitting process for sand and gravel mines and the potential environmental problems that can occur. These local groups that I was working with then started helping each other and sharing information. So we formed an informal grassroots network, and we fought really hard along with Tim Minotis and Sierra Club and others to help stop Senate Bill 431, which would have removed local control over sand and gravel mines. Our groups also managed to stop 2 sand and gravel mines last year that were in troublesome locations. This award really needs to be shared with these people. They really were an inspiration, and I couldn't have done what I've done without their help. This upcoming year, we hope to increase information sharing and produce a citizen's guide to help with people understand the proper permitting for sand and gravel mines and the environmental issues to be addressed. So again, thanks so much. And I was so surprised, and I'm just so honored and happy. Thank you.
Oh, great, Mike. It is an honor to have you working with us at Sierra Club, and you are just such a treasure. So it's fantastic to have you on board. At this point, I am going to turn it back over to Gail Philbin to present one of our most important awards to a particularly heroic individual. So Gail, it is over to you.
Thanks. It's my great pleasure to be awarding the Bunyan Bryant Environmental Justice Award to Vicki Dobbins. And if for folks who may not be aware, Bunyan Bryant is a legendary professor, former professor at the University of Michigan, who pioneered the field of environmental justice. And it's really appropriate to be giving this award to Vicki Dobbins, who is very passionate about the issue. She's a resident of River Rouge. She has asthma, and she became engaged with our kind of activism when she was fighting for clean air and environmental justice in her community. She's worked with Rhonda Anderson. She's been with us with Sierra Club specifically, I think, for about 5 years. She's on our executive committee. And she also is on the local Southeast Michigan group executive committee. She's on their political committee. She's raised money for our PAC. She attends all our lobby days. She's incredibly engaged, incredibly passionate about these issues. She co-authored an op-ed with Rashida Tlaib on the AK steel tax break legislation a few years back. She's done other op-eds. And then she testifies. She's one of our biggest volunteers, our lead volunteer with the Beyond Coal campaign. And she's attends hearings. She testified at a Michigan Public Service Commission hearing in 2013. She was testifying at a shareholder meeting for DTE in 2015. She's attended EPA hearings. She was appointed by Governor Rick Snyder, former Governor Rick Snyder, to the state's environmental justice work group. She also has recently been featured in the New York Times in a discussion of the intersectionality of COVID-19 and environmental injustice. And probably most impressive is she most recently served as a standing witness and a public spokesperson supporting our groundbreaking settlement with DTE. So she's just been an incredible part of this team. And I'm really pleased to be able to give this award. I think this may be the first award she's received from us, and it's long overdue. And so thank you very much for your service to the chapter, Vicki, and it's your moment in the sun. Take it away.
Okay, wow. I didn't know I had done so much. Wonderful. First of all, let me introduce, ladies and gentlemen, my daughter. This is Jocelyn Dobbins, and she is going to be my person that keeps me going today. Okay, so I like to say thank you. I have been with the Sierra Club for about 8 years. It took me a couple of years to figure out where I wanted to be. In the meanwhile, I went on tours, hearings, and everything with Rhonda Anderson, Teresa Landrum, Dr. Leonard, Deirdre, and G-Style. G-Style is Doug Myers, if anyone doesn't know. I have been with some of the organizations called the Sierra Club, Michigan United, Pioneers of Mary Grove, and many, many organizations right down here. Let me tell you that we are River Rouge, Ecorse, Southwest Detroit. Our zip codes are the highest polluted in the state of Michigan. So this is the reason why we work so hard. Not just because it's the city, we work hard because we got to get this message out that the environment is so polluted, our air, our water, and our land. Let me tell you something. Someone asked me, do you know about the Bunyan Bryant Award, Environmental Award? I said, no. They said, we're going to nominate you. So I said, okay, I didn't know, So I began to research, and guess what? I met Bunyan Bryant, Professor Bryant. Oh, I was so excited. I couldn't believe it. I actually met the person that I'm going to get an award for. Now, guys, you can't hardly beat that, okay? And I hope he's somewhere in the audience. He promised me that he would be. He asked me, I asked him, what can I do? I can't step in his shoes, but what can I do to continue his work? And he gave me an assignment. And so, ladies and gentlemen, when I come to you, I'm not coming to you as Vicki. I'm coming to you as an awardee of Professor Bryant. And he has given me this assignment, and hopefully I can do something with it. So Sierra Club, stay with me, and don't let me fail him. Don't let me fail him. I got work to do. So last and not least, I want to say this to you. I am a survivor of COVID-19. I'm going to ask everyone to wear your mask, stay covered up, stay at home as much as you can, and be safe. To Ann White Woody, I said to you, please take your time. You don't need to rush. Where are you going? Get well. So we love you guys. Thank you so much. And thank you for my award.
Oh, Vicky, I wish we were in person so you could hear the thunderous applause.
Oh, thank you.
And thunderous applause for surviving COVID. I'm so sorry my video is still off, you guys. I don't want to deal with the
Absolutely, absolutely.
internet crashing.
But that's
but
okay.
So well deserved. And it's so important to lift up leaders like yourself. And I'm so glad that you have survived COVID. I think that the celebration of life is actually a really important part of environmental work,
Yes,
and
it is.
celebrating and prioritizing life. That is what we are about. So that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And on that note, we are going to move on to the Theodore Roosevelt Award. So Sarah, if you could pull up Marty Habalowski. I think I said that right, Marty. I practiced. I am actually, I might choke up, but my video is not on, so you guys can't see me. I am so thrilled to be presenting this award to Marty. I actually heard Marty's name years ago because he was working with a former colleague of mine, Margie Armstrong at Clean Water Action. And she flagged Marty for me as the person who is holding down the fort in Port Huron on environmental issues, which is absolutely the case. Marty has been working with the Sierra Club since 2004. He is a part of our chapter XCOM. He is a part of our legislative committee, our political committee. He chairs the Blue Water Committee, and he is a really key Beyond Coal campaign activist. He's just an absolute legend. Marty finds common ground with moderates and conservatives and local businesses in the Port Huron area, but he doesn't compromise his values. I think at one point during the election, I called up Marty just to say hey and check in, and he was campaigning hard in CD 10, which some would consider a lost cause, but Marty was out there making phone calls for the candidate, I think you pronounce her name, Bison, who was campaigning as a strong environmentalist in that congressional district, because he's doing the right thing just because it's the right thing to do. And that kind of integrity is so deeply inspiring. Marty has led efforts on Line 5. One of the first things I did when I started working at at Sierra Club is I organized a meeting with Marty in Marysville, where Enbridge was going to be siting a length of pipeline, replacing a length of pipeline under the St. Clair River. And I called up Marty as one of the key activists in the area, and he said, yeah, sure, we can go to that meeting. Next thing I know, there's 17 people there, which might not sound like a lot, but in Marysville, that room was packed. Marty, being Marty, also turned out press to that event. So we got some great press coverage, and we even got a Enbridge spokesperson on record saying that they would not be hiring local union labor. So Marty has worked to make sure that there is no nuclear waste stored along the shoreline of Lake Huron. He has fought for voting rights and so much more. He has a long career in PR and media, and he brings that wealth of experience and relationships from his career to his work at Sierra Club. He is a lead lobbyist. He's a fantastic PAC fundraiser. He keeps an eye on local politics for us. He has been a legal standing witness for the Beyond Coal campaign. This isn't necessarily the most important thing, but Marty is just an absolute joy to be around. He loves music, he loves people. He is so kind and welcoming to anyone who walks into a room. And Marty, you have been deserving of an award from Sierra Club for years. And I feel so incredibly lucky that I get to be the one who gives you this award. So Marty, over to you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Christy. I really want to tell you how thankful I am for this very special honor to be awarded for political leadership for my work in this part of Michigan during these recent polarizing political times is really an incredible honor. Also to be honored at the same time as our courageous Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson makes this evening very meaningful to me. I have to thank my wife, Ruth Habalewski, who's with me, and she can wave for a minute here. Ruth is the person that actually got me involved in the Sierra Club a number of years ago. She's a retired public health official who's worked for 2 Michigan counties, Oakland County and St. Clair County. She's the real scientist of the group, and she's really encouraged my volunteer work with Sierra Club. And I'm really also grateful to be to be working with my fellow Sierra Club Michigan chapter leaders and volunteers. You know, what a special group of people, and really an outstanding staff. I've really enjoyed everybody. Every staff person that I've met has been just outstanding. I want to share one quick story with you, and that's that 10 years ago, I was working at a public relations firm in Bloomfield Hills and living elsewhere in Oakland County. And on my drive home every day, I would pass this small storefront office that Sierra Club had in Royal Oak. Who remembers that? There you go. And I would observe these every evening when I would pass by. There would be this group of volunteers, you know, working and meeting, and certainly I didn't know any of them. And I didn't know exactly what they were doing, but I'll tell you one thing, I knew what they were doing was important. And I thought to myself as I was driving every day, well, if I had the time, that's what I would like to do. I'd like to join them to work on Sierra Club's cause. So little did I know that several months later, I would be moving to Port Huron, become active in the Sierra Club there, and then consequently join several state committees that Christy mentioned already. And today, I'm an at-large member of the executive committee. Very proud to be able to do that in my second year now, and to be able to contribute my skills, frankly, to work on some very significant advocacy work, which I think is very important to Sierra Club. And really receiving the Theodore Roosevelt Award is both very humbling and very motivating. So thank you very much.
Marty, thank you. We love you. All right. And I mean it, we really have to have an in-person party properly when everyone's vaccinated.
And I know where it's going to be. It'll be at the Raven Cafe in Port Huron, where we've held court on the second floor. And I'm inviting everybody that's on the Zoom meeting, of course.
That's a great idea. And if anyone hasn't been there, it's just a real treat. It's like a super eccentric, interesting place. And you can check out Enbridge's refineries across the river.
There you go.
All right, moving on. Next, I have the honor of presenting the White Pine Award to Terry Wilkerson. And Terry is another activist that I actually, we briefly crossed paths before I started working for Sierra Club. I had organized an online action where we met up in person against the Dakota Access Pipeline. And at the time I wasn't doing environmental work, I was in education, but I had been following what was happening with the Dakota Access Pipeline, and I was just horrified. And so I, threw the call out to the ether that we should do something on Dakota Access. And Terry Wilkerson was one of the activists that showed up that day. And I just remembered that as I was preparing these remarks. So Terry is getting this award. She's a really key member of the Crossroads group, but she has also spent an amazing amount of personal time and resources fighting the shutdown of pipelines across the country. Terry turned out to be a lot more hardcore than I am. And she actually went to the Dakota Access Pipeline and spent months there working to shut it down. And she came home from that fight ready to shut down Line 5. She has twice marshaled resources and experts to do an independent scan of the dual Line 5 pipelines that run under the Straits of Mackinac. And in 2020, her work with side scan sonar uncovered ancient structures along the Straits of Mackinac that are evidence of early Indigenous people. Terry worked really closely with the tribes in a really ethical way. She has deferred to tribal citizens throughout her research and made sure that her efforts are tribal led and that the credit goes to the tribes as is appropriate. And we are taking this moment to lift her up internally at the Sierra Club because we know that she has put an amazing amount of time and effort herself into doing this work. She raised more than $40,000 personally to get an underwater remote operated vehicle to complete the investigations. And without her absolute undying tenacity, Enbridge would have been possibly able to get away with blocking efforts to thoroughly study the area that they want to blow up to build their disastrous tunnel. So Terry, it is an absolute honor to present you with the White Pine Award, and I will turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And you should have some pictures to show as well. So if you could do that, that'd be great. I thank you so much for the award, and thank you so much for the emphasis on working with tribes, because this project would not have been possible without the big team that supported it, Tribal and Sierra Club. And of course, I'm going to focus on the Sierra Club part of it now. And there should be pictures to show, starting with Ann and Tom Wywoody, because Ann has been so amazingly kind and helpful from the very start to the very finish of this project, even writing the first draft of what we submitted to the various government organizations. So really appreciate that. And Tom quickly became involved, and because of their 501c3 that they allowed us to use, we were able to get some larger donations. And then next, I want to specifically call out Roberta Shaw Reeves and Lee Burton from my own Crossroads Sierra Club chapter. They were with us all the way. Really appreciate them as well. And you will see that quite literally at the end. Next, Rita Mitchell and Ed Steinman were also very supportive from the very beginning. And as Christy mentioned, this took 2 tries to really get on the water. So I, encourage people to not be afraid of failing, just be more concerned about not trying at all. And then as Ann needed to step back because of health concerns, David Holt stepped right up to help and was very instrumental giving support for the project. And there are many other people in the Sierra Club, especially the Crossroads group and the Huron Valley chapters, which supported us. And then if you could go to the picture that shows me standing by the dock, that'd be excellent. Yep, that one. So I just thought it might be fun for people to see how literally we were under the eye of Enbridge, because this was the dock that is behind Minogan Market, and this is where we launched from the first several weeks of doing work with the survey vessel that's behind me. And you can see that the Enbridge tug is just over to the left. What you can't see off screen is that there are 3 security boats that are constantly coming and going. So they were literally breathing down our backs, and they were knocking on my camper door within 12 hours of getting onto the site. Next slide, please. The day of the discovery was actually in quite dangerous conditions. Nope, not that one. It's the one that shows keep going. One that shows the back from the back of the boat, the motor, and then the hazy outline.
Yeah, I'll have to grab that. They're not.
All right, the day of the discovery was actually in quite dangerous conditions because of the heavy fog that was a result of the California wildfires. We expected it to burn off. It didn't. It got even thicker, and that gave us pretty much no visibility. And after we started getting pulled out by the fishing boat, we learned that they did not have a communication system that was working. So we were out in the dense fog with no visibility and no way to tell people that we were there. We couldn't see the bridge. We couldn't see any land. We could see nothing, but we could hear the barges as they were going by. And then I think it was shown earlier. Yep, that's the one picture. Then the next picture is actually a selfie that I snapped to show Lee Burton that part of the Sierra Club was with me because I was wearing his hat. And that is why I took that picture, was just to send it back to Lee and say, I feel the support everyone's giving us. And then lastly, the last picture is just showing that as we were getting pulled back, the sun was starting to come out. So again, thank you very much. It was a huge team effort and would not have happened without a lot of support from the Sierra Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. We really appreciate all your efforts. That's amazing. Okay, on that note, I am going to turn it over to Gail Philbin. And Gail is going to present the Digital Advocacy Award.
Thanks, Christy. The nice oh, there we go. The nice thing about this award ceremony is you can see the connections between people. It's as Terry just said, it's a group effort, it's a team effort, and everyone has a part to play. And Bill Latka has a big part to play in the Line 5 fight, which is in a place that I don't know if the folks who've been working at it for so long, since 2012, I think, would have expected. And there's a big round of applause that needs to go to Bill and his digital expertise for the website that he built, which is just amazing if you haven't seen it. It's beautiful, user-friendly, got everything that you need at a touch. Plus he has coordinated digital communications with supporters and members and elevated protesters' words on wanting to shut down Line 5. He's really just a remarkably talented person when it comes to digital communications. And to demonstrate that, we are going to show a clip right now of a 2-minute, 16-second video that he created called Does the UP Need Line 5?
And folks, I'm gonna start sharing my own screen, so we're gonna switch away from Sarah, and this should work. All right.
Doesn't the Upper Peninsula need Line 5 for propane?
Great question. The sound.
Line 5 moves 540,000 barrels of oil and natural goods every day from Wisconsin to Canada. At Rapid River, Enbridge says they offload 2,600 barrels of natural gas liquids. Look at this. That's only 1/2 of 1% of the total volume of Line 5 that Enbridge delivers to the UP. That's all. Another company processes these natural gas liquids by stripping out the propane, which is only 1/2 the volume, and places it into storage tanks. The other half of the volume gets re-injected into Line 5 and is sent to Sarnia. So only 1/4 of 1% of the volume in Line 5 stays in the UP. Next, propane delivery trucks come to Rapid River, load up, and deliver the propane to fewer than 12,000 households around the central UP. Propane is already trucked all over the Upper Peninsula. The rest of the UP gets their propane from other suppliers. The Eastern UP gets its propane by rail from the Canadian Soo. The Western UP gets its propane from Wisconsin.
So the Upper Peninsula can do without Line 5?
Right. Here's how we fix it. Without Line 5, experts say that there are 3 ways to get propane to Rapid River. Option A, labor could build a 4-inch pipeline to get propane from Superior to Rapid River. Option B, the stuff can get there using 3 or 4 trucks a day. Or C, get it there on 1 or 2 rail cars a day, just like it gets to the Eastern UP. These last 2 options would only cost 5 cents a gallon more. A new 4-inch pipeline, a little more than that. So what do you think? Is it worth risking the Great Lakes for only 5 cents a gallon savings?
No, there's lots of options. It's time to decommission Line 5.
Great. Now we're gonna hear from Bill. Do you want to say a few words?
Yes, thank you. Thanks very much, Gail and Christy and Ann and David and Charlie and everybody at Sierra Club for this terrific honor. I'd also like to thank my family, Renee, my wife, and my amazing daughters, Chase and Parker, who are all watching in today, and for support of this work. You know, some of you may recognize that voice. I don't know if you could hear it very well from the guy in the video. I only wish I had that stylish facial hair. I guess that's maybe me projecting a little bit. You know, before returning home to Michigan, I lived in Los Angeles for 20 years, and I produced over 2,000 national TV commercials and feature film visual effects. I knew I wanted to be doing something more meaningful with my time, so I formed a company called Rivet Entertainment, and I created several hours of programming for Discovery and Science channels. I got a tremendous opportunity to produce a groundbreaking show for Discovery Channel about the solutions to climate change. Before we started, I didn't know much about climate, so to tell our story, we had to assemble a panel of over 150 experts from around the world who could advise us about the problems and solutions. I traveled around the world and I saw firsthand the devastation the climate was causing. And this was like 15 years ago. The conversations I had and the things I saw changed my life. So working to slow climate change became my life's work. When that show ended, I felt like living in Los Angeles wasn't quite right for our family, and it was time to leave anyway with 2 small girls and no other family there. So my wife and I chose the safest place I knew from the challenge that the climate change was going to throw at us, right here in the middle of 21% of the world's fresh surface water. Plus, Michael Moore lived here in Traverse City, so I figured I can keep my media career going too, which I did. I even produced a feature film when I was living here. But every spare moment that I had, I was dedicated to moving the needle on climate action. After learning about the Line 5 pipeline from Beth Wallace and Jeff Alexander's great paper, Sunken Hazard, I helped to co-found the Oil and Water Don't Mix campaign to shut the pipeline down. I produced and directed the TV commercial that launched the campaign. And since I'd always been kind of a nerd with websites and databases and stuff, I knew the campaign needed an organizing tool. So I built the current website on a platform called Nation Builder, and that's been working out great ever since. I knew that much more could be accomplished in the digital space with websites and web videos and stuff. So I started a second company called Storylicious to help nonprofits and brands to better tell their stories that get people to take action. Well, we became experts in Nation Builder and built websites for Michigan Environmental Council, Groundwork Center, and several others. We created social media and videos for hospitals and manufacturers and nonprofits like Flow and NWF and Archangel Ancient Tree Archive and many others. And I'm really honored to work with Kate Madigan by helping the Michigan Climate Action Network to build the largest social media following of any environmental nonprofit in Michigan. Now we're working on a new concept. It's kind of early days, but it's a media platform to normalize climate action and inspire people to embrace climate solutions. We hope to work with public media, local TV stations across the country, and streaming services. So if you want to get involved in that, let me know. My dad is going to turn, I just talked to him today, my dad is going to turn 93 soon in May. So I figured I have a while left on Earth and there's plenty to do. And I can't not work to help save this place for us on the planet. And I'm inspired by all my fellow awardees here tonight to keep pushing and keep doing just what I can. And since I don't have the facial hair, being behind the scenes suits me just fine. Thanks again.
Thanks, Bill. We're lucky that you decided to move to Michigan, to the wherever, right there.
Yeah, right there, Traverse City. Woo. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you so much. And it's clear that without your digital contribution to the Line 5 fight, we wouldn't be where we are right now. So thank you very much for that. So we're going to move next to the Sylvania Award. Sarah, bump that up. And this is an award that goes to newcomers to the scene, new volunteers that haven't been with us for too long, that have made a big splash, and that certainly defines Tiffany Stewart. She's been with us, I think, for a year, and she's the co-chair of the political committee of the Crossroads Group. And in that short time, she's really just gone gangbusters in terms of expanding that committee's reach and what they can accomplish and what they're working on, and has really made it a committee that's doing things that are benefiting a lot of people. She leads the Environmental Council of the Brighton Area Chamber of Commerce, and she's been the driving force behind establishing the Environmental Council of Huron Valley. She works with Michigan chapter political leaders. She created a climate crisis art show with the Crossroads Group. That's been very popular. She coordinated Earth Day activities that have raised thousands of dollars for Crossroads and other environmental groups. She's just, I remember when she first started with volunteering with us, she showed up at a lobby day, I believe. But that's when I first met her. And she's just right from the get-go, she wanted to do stuff. And she's clearly just taken and run with her inspiration. The thing that I'm particularly pleased about, besides her political work, is that she's elevated the issue of plastics within the Michigan chapter of the Sierra Club, because we don't have any staff that can work on that. And it's obviously an incredibly important issue in the Great Lakes. So we're really thankful that she's been able to tackle that and help us have some movement on that issue. So with that said, I would like to award the Sylvania Award to Tiffany Stewart, but that's not Tiffany. That looks like Bill Lotkin. Sarah, I think that's what I'm seeing on my screen.
I'm not sharing my screen anymore.
Oh.
I think as soon as I start talking, it might jump to me.
There you go.
Okay.
Hi there.
Hello, very good. Well, thank you very much, Gail. And it was a lobby day. It seems like forever ago, but not too long. So thank you to the Michigan chapter, and of course our Crossroads group for really allowing me an opportunity to convert my passion into action. And as you mentioned, we've done a lot in the last year and accomplished a lot. So one of the big things that we're very proud of is the Our Changing Climate art and music show, with really the goal of elevating awareness of our climate crisis and inspiring action. And as you mentioned, really trying to ramp up efforts on our plastic pollution problem. And so what started as a group of 2 Sierra Club members, one on the east side, one on the west side, has actually grown to now the Great Lakes Plastic Pollution Solution Coalition, a group of more than 10 organizations across the state and Canada that all have a similar goal of really helping to reduce our plastic pollution. And one of the activities we had rolled out last year was a legislative day of action in the summer with the goal of helping educate our lawmakers on our plastic pollution problem. And it was actually one of the most attended lobby events that we've done. So that was great to see. So I've mentioned before that to me, I feel that the Sierra Club is synonymous with getting things done. And we have so much to do. And as you've heard today, we've accomplished so much, but that of course could not be made possible without your support from the chapter. And of course, the many hands to execute these different projects with the wonderful volunteers that are so passionate and willing to jump in and help move these things forward. So I'm very grateful to all of you for that, and I look forward to seeing what lies ahead. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. All right, guys, I haven't had a note saying that my internet is unstable in a while, so I'm going to try to go back on video so that we don't have my gorgeous dog Lulu presenting all the awards to you. Thank you, Tiffany. And I've been so impressed by your leadership. It's so great. I know, you're one of the people I can call, and I know I'm going to get a call back right away with a list of things that you're already doing. So awesome. On that note, I'm going to move to the Vince Smith Award. Sarah, if you could bring that up. So Gloria is not with us tonight. We can keep this one relatively short and sweet. Gloria Bublitz was nominated by the Nepicing Group. She is too busy being outside in our beautiful state right now. She leads multiple hikes every day, every week. She's always out there, and she makes everyone feel welcome. And the Nepicing Group wants to make sure to honor her commitment to help getting people outside. And she is a deserving recipient of this award. So we will be sending it to her. She's busy playing outside, and she sends her regards. And on that note, I'm actually going to turn it back over to Gail. So Gail, you're up again.
I apologize in advance if my cat, who's right there, meows. He's making noise. So it's my great pleasure. I love giving out these awards for people that are doing the stuff that a lot of people wouldn't do because it's not glamorous, or it's just not high profile enough, or it doesn't seem like it's making an impact. But these are the kind of volunteers that Sierra Club is built on. And I really appreciate the work we're giving chapter service awards to 3 folks: Lindsay Frygon, and I hope I pronounced her name correctly, Mike Thomas, and Erica Hamill. And they basically have given generously their editing skills to help us with our twice monthly chapter update, which goes out to our members and supporters. And it's wonderful to be able to, when you throw together a draft, you're under a deadline and you got all this information you're inputting, to not also have the burden of making sure that every last T is crossed and I is dotted, literally. And these folks do it, and they do it in a short turnaround. And it's a pleasure to be able to email them on a Thursday night and say, here it is. Any broken links, any misspellings, anything that they catch it. So I really appreciate their work. And I think Mike joined us in 2016, I believe, and then Lindsay and Eric have been with us since 2017, and it's fabulous to be able to work with them. So I think Lindsay and Mike are with us, and why don't we give them a chance to say something?
Thank you. So I'm honored to receive this award and very appreciative. I wanted to thank Anne Wywody for her support and to just say that I've really enjoyed copy editing over the last few years with this team. We have a great deal of fun. We have a lot of spirited debate and conversations over email. We kind of nerd out on grammar, but that's okay. It's been a great deal of fun. So thank you very much.
And I don't know if Mike is with us. Mike Thomas, are you on? Perhaps he didn't make it. All right, well, let's move on. There's one more service award that we wanted to give out to Fred Miller. And he has been a member since 1981 and has been instrumental in working on our work in Oakland County on climate change. He works with Andrew Sarpolis, who's our national staffer on that issue. And helped lay the groundwork in 2019 for the Turn Oakland County Green campaign, which helped bring a diverse set of partners together and ultimately led to developing Oakland County's first ever climate jobs and justice platform. And since that was established in the last 9 months, they've gotten to the point where the county executive, Dave Coulter, has agreed to fund a sustainability officer as well as make the county operations run on 100% clean energy by 2030. So incredible progress there. He's helped fundraise for the political committee in Oakland County for the Sierra Club, or the political program. And also he works on our DTE program through the Beyond Coal campaign. He's helped push them to be more aggressive on renewable energy and efficiency, and actually helped kill one of their proposed fracked gas plants. So he's been a vital volunteer in this effort, and I would like to give it over to him if he's on the call.
Yes, I am
Fred?
on the call. Yes, hi.
Great.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you to the Michigan chapter for the award. Really, I look on it as recognition for a lot of people's efforts, the things that Gail was describing, done by a group of people. First, the Beyond Coal group that's been active for quite a long time. And I saw Lon Herman, I think, is on this program, on the call, and has been a longtime activist. And then the group that formed to try to move Oakland County to be a leader on climate justice, green jobs, and environmental justice. The Turn Oakland County Green group and the Oakland County climate campaign that it's running. And as you say, Andrew really has been central to putting together the coalition of groups and activists to do that. We've got a great group with Clean Water Action and the League of Conservation Voters, Sunrise, and the NAACP and other groups taking active roles in that. And I saw Jane O'Neill is, I think, on this call, another key person on that effort. And so we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity in Oakland County with the changes in the Oakland County government. We have an opportunity in the nation to make historic progress on climate and climate justice. To do it, we know we need action at every level, from top to bottom, government and society. And anyone who's in Oakland County, check out our website, turnoaklandcountygreen.com. Join us. We're happy to have as many activists as possible in the Sierra Club and everywhere else, making Oakland County do its part. And we hope that every other county, every other city in the state of Michigan will do so too. So thanks again.
Thank you, Fred. Very well deserved. Thank you so much. All right, we have gone over, we blew our time. That's okay. It was great to celebrate everyone. I wish we were in person because it doesn't feel tiring to sit around talking with fabulous activists when we're all in person. And it's been really inspiring hearing everyone's remarks. We are coming up to our last award of the evening. Sarah, if you could please bring up the Trillium awardees. So the Trillium Award recognizes the contributions of young people to the Sierra Club. And we want to take a minute to lift up 3 interns that really stood out in our fall and summer intern political program. We have Sarah Millie's Luck, Elizabeth Bowman, and Keegan Sullivan. So I think a lot of folks are probably aware of our political internship program, but our interns are placed with campaigns, and they do the hard work of campaigns, and they also make sure to represent the Sierra Club and bring our issues and an environmental focus to all the campaigns that they're working on. So these interns this year, they set themselves apart with their work ethic, their innovation, and their passion, which was really hard to muster during a pandemic where everything was done remotely. Massive props to all 3 of you for doing the heavy lifting to maintain the enthusiasm needed to keep going during this political cycle. It was a slog, and you all really stood out. The projects they worked on, they ran multiple events. They updated and managed social media projects. They worked with national staff on auto industry standards and also on auto industry work to make sure that those were integrated into the campaigns that they were working on. And we really look forward to engaging with you throughout your careers, wherever you land. Hopefully it's with the Sierra Club and all the amazing work that you are going to do now and into the future. So we'll hand it over to you. And when all 3 of you are done telling us your amazing plans for your bright futures, then Gail and I will close things out. So Keegan and Sarah and Elizabeth, it's all you. I will nominate, just because we have it going this way, we'll do Sarah first, and then Elizabeth, and then Keegan to keep things running smoothly. So Sarah, if you are available, please give some remarks. She may not be. I think actually she may not be. Sarah, is that you? Sarah, yay! Great.
First of all, thank you very much.
Sarah, I think you're breaking up a little bit, unless that's just me.
Yeah, I think Sarah might be breaking up. Sarah, we can come back to you. Hopefully we'll be able to hear you. Elizabeth, would you like to go next?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you so much for this award. I'm honored to be recognized here today. Honestly, I've had such a great experience being involved with the Sierra Club and being part of such a hardworking, dedicated community. And I just wanted to quickly thank Sarah Tressiter and Tim Minotis for giving me such great guidance within the organization, and the Crossroads group for taking me in and doing great work. So thank you all.
Keegan, are you on?
Yeah.
Awesome. Go for it. Go, Keegan.
Yeah, again, I'm honored to be here. I really appreciate it. I also wanted to thank Sarah, our supervisor, this summer. Like, she really encouraged us to use our talents as best we could, even if that meant leaving a campaign that they wanted us to be on and going to a different one. She was very encouraging with that, and I appreciate it. I want to thank Mike Berkowitz from Beyond Coal. He's let me be in meetings where I probably do not have enough experience to be in, but he's always invited me and made me feel like I'm a welcome part of that team. And I also want to thank Jan, also from Beyond Coal, because she knew when I was possibly overworked, she gave me a call and made sure I felt like I was comfortable saying no to things. And I really appreciated that. So thank you, Sierra Club.
That's so great. And Keegan, thank you for the reminder of how to support volunteers and not burn people out. That's really, it is good to have those reminders. Awesome. And Sarah, I don't know if your internet is working and you want to say anything, but I want to see if it is possible. So we want to give you a second. I feel your internet woes. As you could see, I had to turn off my video just to make sure that things didn't crash. Okay, on that note, we are half an hour over time, but that's okay because we heard from a lot of wonderful people. So again, I can't wait to meet in person and celebrate with everyone. But thank you so much for keeping this work going and all your amazing contributions. And I cannot wait to work with all of you. I'm sorry.
We'll be sending out a link for a recording that we've been making of this conversation. And also those who are award winners, we will get you the awards somehow. I don't know quite yet, but we will. So thank you, everyone. This has actually been very intimate in its virtual way that it has been. So thank you, everyone. It's just an honor to work with everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks everyone. Maybe we'll
Thank you
hand the
all.
video to Bill for some editing. He can make it look extra good.
I'd love to get
All right.
the
Oh, yeah, have a
replay.
good
This would be
night.
wonderful. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Bye, Marty.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Christy.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Night.
Bye.
Bye.